I got a DNA test done years ago. My brother recently got one done from the same manufacturer. We only share 25 DNA. We also have different ethnicity percentages, which just solidified this to me. No, our tests didn't get mixed up because the ethnicity from our mother's side is the same. It's just the father's side. Either him or I are an affair baby, and we don't know who. Our father, the one who raised both of us, is dead. We both grieved his loss. Knowing one of us still has a father is insane. He said he wants to confront our mother, but I honestly don't. The man who raised me is my father, when I'm his or not. I'm just so upset that this is how we had to find out, and our mother willing both let us do DNA tests knowing the results would be different. I'm just so confused and hurt. ETA, as I said in the comments, my brother plans on confronting my mother tonight. I'm staying neutral because at the end of the day, I honestly could care less who my father was. My mother was my everything. My father wasn't the best, and if I'm an AC, I doubt if my bio father would even want to know me now that I'm an adult. I kind of do want to know at the end of the day, but it doesn't really change who I am. My brother is handling the news differently, and that's cool. I think it's because he also didn't have a great relationship with our father, and maybe deep down he hopes that's why I decay. But yeah, I'll update as anything shocking happens tonight. If not, it's just relevant comments. When told maybe it's best not seek a possible biodad. Even if my possible biodad is a halfway decent guy, it's just be so awkward. Like I said, I've already been raised and grieved the death of my father, biology or not. Even if I'm an AC, my father is dead. At the most, I feel I'd be able to have a friendship or camaraderie with any other person that would be a parent. It's took late in life for him to be a parental figure to me. If I had a different father and he wanted to be part of my life, I would never shut him out. But I'm not going to be optimistic. I'm not going to jump to the convoy that it's some man who would want to be my father and is ready to make up for lost time, because there's a big chance it's not even the case. I'm just being realistic. And the realism is that one, I may not even be the affair. It could be my brother, and it wouldn't involve me at all. 2, it's some one-night stand my mother had when desperate and alone, and she barely even knew the guy, let alone know how to contact him. 3, it's someone we may know. He knows about my and when how I was conceived, and just doesn't want to be involved. Either way, it's not that big of a deal to me. Any outcome will not change my life views or who I was raised to be. OP on her dad. My dad was actually a pretty good parent to me, even after the divorce. I was a total daddy's girl as a child, and as a teenager, he was the fun Disney dad. I wanted for nothing. He cooked me great meals, took me to the beach to find beach glass, took me to do whatever I wanted. Like I said previously, I didn't learn until I was an adult about what a scumbag he was. He wasn't paying child support the entire time, went to jail once because of that, and was in extreme debt. So much that he just left with essentials one day and never came back. He was scamming his friends, his boss, and co-workers, and had a serious gambling addiction. My mother obviously shielded me from most of this because I was a child, but she told me everything she knew once I found out myself, because at the end of the day, he was still being a good father to me. My brother, on the other hand, he's the one who suffered most. My brother is neurodivergent and was abused by my dad as well. My brother was also used as a pawn in my parents' divorce. My father let him live with him, not go to school, and do whatever he wanted. My brother barely graduated HS and is working shitty jobs to support his family because he didn't learn any skills to assist him in getting a job. My father also kicked him out the second he wasn't of use anymore to him, so he has abandonment issues on top of everything else. I don't think the differential treatment was biology related, but more of the fact that my father didn't want any more children. My brother being alive obviously made him very upset, but by the time I was born, he obviously accepted that he's a father again, and he couldn't do anything about it. When told to take a new test, it's already pretty tough to deny, since our maternal DNA is exactly the same, just not our paternal. I also don't want to waste more money on this than I want to. At the end of the day, I still love my mother and would never hold anything against her. I'm not even the one who plans on confronting her. My brother is. But like I said, IDC, my dad is dead. My mom was my main parent. I'm not going to spend possibly hundreds of dollars for something I don't want to dig on. Maybe you guys have disposable income like that, but I'm a new homeowner in my early 20s. I can't afford to drop $100 or more on stuff like this. Update. Welp, the dinner is over. My brother texted me a couple hours ago, only saying it's not what I expected. And he's honestly right. I'll put a TL dealer at the bottom if you don't want to hear the full story. This is also all secondhand info, so bear with me. So my brother invited my mom over for dinner. They ate their dinner, and then my seal took my oldest nibblings to the neighbor for a play date. In all seriousness, it was just so my brother could talk to my mother alone. My brother presented my mom with the pictures of our DNA test. She, according to him, was extremely shocked and distressed, not the behavior of someone who actively cheated, as he said. Long story short, my brother is the affair baby. I put it in quotes because it was consensual with my father. When my mother was in her early 30s when my brother was conceived, my father was a traveling salesman. My father has always been an amazing salesman, and he was part of an elite group at this company, and they would go on retreats and whatnot to reward the hardest working guys. According to my mom, these recruits were basically swinger events. If you don't know what swinging is, feel free to look it up yourself. My father basically forced my mother to partake in these events, but she ended up enjoying herself since my father was such a selfish lover. All the men either wore condoms or had vasectomies, but you can lie about both of those at the end of the day. She honestly didn't know that my brother wasn't biologically my father's. And unfortunately, she has no idea who his bio-father could be, because by her own admission, she said there were dozens, and they weren't exactly close with these people. She obviously stopped doing it when she found out she was pregnant, and my father nor his douche friends were attracted to my mother's mom body, so there's no way I was conceived by another. I'm both happy and sad at the same time. Deep down, I kind of wish I was the affair baby, because my brother is struggling a lot more with this than I am, and he's struggling twice as much because he will never know who his real father is. Like I said, I'm probably going to respectfully bow out here, but if he reaches out for support or help, I'm not going to decline. I'm just giving him space to digest everything. I know, weird ending, but IDK, I don't feel all that different. Maybe it's because I'm not the one in his situation, but I feel very unchanged. Probably because, like I said, my father is dead. Biological or not, I've grieved and moved on. And even if I found out he wasn't my father, I still wouldn't have a father. I don't see myself updating any further. We found out what we found out, and like I predicted, this doesn't change how I feel about my mother or my father. My brother has a lot to think about, and at the end of the day, this isn't my circus to share anymore. It's his. Thank you for the suggestions and comments. I appreciate them all. TLDR, my brother is the affair child. My mother and father were swingers when my brother was conceived, and she has no idea who the bio-father could be. Dead end? Maybe. Relevant comments, slum slug. That's either an incredibly well thought out lie or an uncomfortable truth. Sue, well done. Oop, like I said in my previous post, my mother isn't a liar. I've never caught her in a lie in my entire life. She's the most honest person I know. I think this was 100 truthful. I have no reason to think otherwise. Also, forcing my mom into swinging because he wanted to have sex with other women is extremely believable, not gonna lie. Rush is right. She's the most honest person I know. She was having sex with dozens of men when your brother was conceived, and she's shocked your dad isn't the father. But in your previous post, you said you were told that you were both failed vasectomy babies. So, in your own mother's story of how you were both conceived, she would know that it could have been any of the dozens of other men that could have claimed to have vasectomies. OOP. I think it's just her honesty bone kicking in, you know? Since she's a very honest person, she expects that honesty in return. I gladly give it to her, but I know the majority of people will not, including men who just want to have quick sex. I think she was genuinely shocked and just being woefully ignorant about the whole situation. And of say, I believe her when she says that I was not an affair child. What would she gain from telling my brother he was an affair, but I'm not? It literally wouldn't make sense.